What does it mean to play Destiny Rising? What is the experience that you're looking for? If you want to play on PC and use an emulator, that's probably the best way to get the best performance out of the game. But this is a mobile game first and foremost, and so what I want to show people is just what the capabilities are and how you can think differently about this game even though it's a cell phone game. Here I am playing on my cell phone using the Sony Xperia Stream accessory, which I imported from Japan. Now it connects to my phone and allows it to use the HDMI out, Ethernet out, 3.5mm headphone jack, USB Type-C charging port, and even while connected to the DualSense Edge controller that I use on my PS5 Pro, this thing has it all. Different ways you could play the game. You can really configure the experience however you need to for whatever situation you're in. Now, my particular setup allows me to use an external battery to divert taking heat and energy from the phone's battery to play it using an external battery to power the components on my phone, giving my phone a much more easier method of making the game last a lot longer when these longer playing sessions are taking place. It's pretty cool, honestly, and the gameplay is really showing just how into this I've gotten. I've grinded my character up quite a bit using this exotic HMG that I picked up called the Heir Apparent to really melt these bosses and these crews of enemies as I'm pushing through these levels, and it's been a lot of fun playing this game and really getting the chance to rank everything up. Now here I am recording directly from the phone itself, which of course everything uses processing power, so just keep that in mind. Now we have the Heir Apparent here, which is currently at about over 9,000. But there's plenty of room to grow, and I haven't even gotten the second copy of this weapon yet. But that'll be the next thing that I'm working on to get this build just right. I want to also talk about some of the other guns that I have while we're talking about Kabr. So of course the mythics are going to be important, right? We don't quite yet have a reliable primary that's void, so we do have solar and we do have arc. And this would be my arc pulse rifle that I have built up using mythic modifiers, and you can see the stats here as I'm kind of clicking through it. And then we'll have one that I've actually built specifically for the raid, the final boss, that is using more solar shielded enemies, so this one's pretty much good to go for that. And man, just the damage and everything, the output is looking really good. But yeah, that HMG is just, it's ridiculous. If you want to take a quicker look, some of the grinding that I've done, I managed to get a little bit of those exotic modifiers on some of my weapons, and so we'll take a deeper dive into that at some point, but I want to get back to the gameplay here. And like I said, Destiny Rising is completely different from any other mobile game that I've played before. I think maybe if anything the closest representative to this would be Warzone Mobile, which did push the limits of what cell phone gaming could be, and you've seen on my channel I've kind of messed around with some of that stuff before. But I was even more excited for Destiny Rising because Destiny Rising has the chance to really last a long time. And so having that MMO RPG element to it where your character is just building up and getting stronger, it makes it really interesting because now we have something that we can build on when we're away from home. Now you did see footage of me playing on basically my home setup, which I normally use for my console. You know, when I'm not deciding to play it on the big screen, I might throw it on the gaming monitor for competitive play. But I'm able to use my phone as a console. And because this is a mobile game, it really does bring the versatility that comes with it. Yeah, I could play it at home. And I'll show you a footage of this maybe later on. I want to get some more examples of this, but I actually play on a shuttle bus using a monitor that's on the back of the bus as I'm coming back from work. After a long day of work, have my phone charged up, have my backup battery, and I can connect my phone just like how you saw on that monitor in my room. I'm able to connect it to the monitor on the bus, and I'm able to just bring my PlayStation controller and have a mobile console experience literally on the highway coming back from work. It's just crazy, right? It's absolutely insane. And that raises the question, if mobile gaming is going to be like this in the future, and if cell phones are going to be able to have enough power to, you know, push out graphics that resemble some of the consoles that we've recently had within the past generation or so, are we going to even need handheld consoles? Because I know the PlayStation 6 is going to be coming out with a handheld version. You have the Xbox ROG Ally X, right? Which is basically a little handheld PC. But everybody has a phone, and everybody very consistently updates their phone. You know, I don't think most people keep the same phone for more than 5 years. So the actual cycle of people using cell phones is much more, sooner when it comes to updates and upgrading from what they've had in the past. And so keep that in mind, because as we move forward into this game, Destiny Rising, this is built for multiple generations of cell phones, and if it's already performing this well on this particular phone that I have, basically hitting higher frame rates. Now, some people are pretty much kind of got their panties in a wad over some of the stats that I've been showing on my gameplay, but my phone does actually render the game internally at a higher frame rate so that it can get better latency, and then presents it on the screen as 50 to 60 frames per second. And so as a mobile game, of course, we want to be competitive. We want to be able to play alongside PC gamers, just like how it is on the console. If we're going to be playing with PC gamers that are emulating the game, it would only make sense for these phones to improve over time so that we can be just as competitive as they are. So again, looking at some of the stats, let's see if I can go a little bit more in depth on some of this. So this particular gun is a Cabal HMG, and it's insane because it actually gives you an overshield as you're spooling it up. And what you've seen me do with Kabr is I'm able to throw down a barricade and then stand behind it uninterrupted, not taking damage, to then spool up the LMG and then start hitting all the hostiles on the other side of the barrier while my arc shield is just building up, which it can go over 4,000 HP just for the overshield itself. And now that also gives me the ability to put together artifact builds that take advantage of the fact that I'll have an overshield in a lot of these encounters that can then boost my damage or give me other versatile options to approach boss battles, and especially raid bosses. The whole point of why I went this route was because Kabr desperately needed a better way to put out raw damage. I'm seeing these Tan 2s taking over basically the raids, and they're definitely going to, because of the way that the damage is for his snipers and all that. But Kabr needed some kind of an alternative, and since I haven't gotten the drop of the raid HMG yet, which I would hopefully get one pretty soon, I'm working with what I got, and I'm really excited to see how it's all coming together. The only real thing is I need that HMG from the raid, because I need that void damage option to really round out Kabr's capabilities. So I got arc covered, I got solar covered, but I need that void HMG. Now is a perfect time to segue into the next character that's going to be coming out. This is Estella, and this is my own footage from the alpha. I was able to use her in both the alpha and the beta, and Estella is definitely one of the top tier characters that you'll be seeing. She may not have a lot of healing or self-healing, but she does a lot of output damage, and so I want to showcase some of that here, and maybe towards the end I want to cover some artifacts that I'm keeping an eye out for in preparations for when she comes out. Now, one of the main reasons why Kabr was my main is because Estella uses the same weapons as Kabr, at least in the alpha, and I really hope they don't change that. And so I actually, in hopes of her keeping the same weapon setup, I've been really diving in on getting Kabr's weaponry and everything like that. Now, funnily enough, I actually have the Void LMG in the alpha because I did run the raid with the wolf pack that I was with, and that I'm still with, Paragon, and we've been handling business. So I actually had the HMG. You'll see some of that gameplay here. And it just puts in work, man. Like, honestly, Estella is going to be interesting for DPS builds. You could be in two places at once with her. She uses a lot of summon capabilities. Her super is basically a summon, and it really is like a point defense kind of character that also has the ability to be very offensive. And she's actually going to be my solar main. She's gonna take Wolf's place basically in my roster. And so that'll round me out with the top three of Kabr, Yolder, and Estella. and I'm excited for it, man. I really like having the HMG and the pulse rifle combination, because they're just a lot of fun to play with. You know what I'm saying? There's really no getting around that. And Estella, I really like her aesthetic, so to speak. She kind of has this ASMR soft tone with her voice. It's really cool and calm. And then of course to contrast that, the Ahamkara that she has bothering her all the freaking time is just there talking shit and has a completely different voice. So there's like this clash of personalities going on with her, and so it's super cool. And honestly, all the characters in Destiny Rising have been interesting. The Atal backstory missions were so fucking cool, man. She's adorable as hell. So like, I'm really digging the way NetEase is just kind of leaned into the dude bro aesthetic of actually making female characters both attractive and funny and all the different things that we like in characters in video games. Maybe perhaps they didn't over sexualize or anything like that like some other games have done, but that's perfectly fine. The approach that NetEase has gone in this game is just, it's commendable. And for a Chinese company to be yet again, oh, there it is, there's the super. Let's see how it looks. Look at the DPS right here. Now this is just a regular strike mission, so you don't really get to see the full effect of it on the bosses with basically more of a tanky build, or higher rating for power. So this is a pretty tame example of what her capabilities are, but even still, seeing the gameplay here just shows how active she is on offense. So she's a very offensive capable character, and I'm really excited to see how she can pair up with the heir apparent HMG that I have, because I think that damage output can be quite intense if she's using her super at the same time. In a minute we'll look at some artifacts that are going to match well with her playing style, and in preparation for that, of course, you want to start saving up your Lumina leaves. You don't want to be using all of your resources on pulls. Also, even stacking up your, what's it called, the dust that you get for your regular pulls that you can save up to then convert into LE Lumia leaves. You want to start doing that. I've actually saved up just about 160 or so before even converting any of my silver or any of the materials that build up as I'm breaking those packs down. So I want to try to get as many copies of her as I can when she comes out, and hopefully pretty soon we'll see more information on her stats for the build of the game that is here for the launch. Now it seems to be that the statistics that they went ahead and added to the characters is even more in depth than it was in the alpha, and I kind of do like that. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with power creep that NetEase needs to implement to keep people coming back and grinding for more materials. And I also want to talk about the way that they've done the content as far as drip feeding the content. I really do like that approach, especially because I have a job and I have, a girlfriend and stuff like that, so I don't really have time to just be playing the game the entire day. And for it being a mobile game, there's a lot of stuff to do. So if you do life the game, or no life the game rather, then you could really find a lot to do as far as grinding. But it's not as grindy as Destiny and Destiny 1 and 2. And I'm a Destiny 1 veteran. I played Destiny since the alpha, and I was one of the first people to play Destiny 1 on the PS4 during the alpha stages shortly after their E3 announcement, which was a fantastic era in my time, and actually was the reason why I started a YouTube channel, believe it or not. Some of those videos are no longer here, but man, good times on those games. This game is nowhere near as grindy as Destiny was. They've made a lot of quality of life improvements and actually made it to where you're able to go and touch grass. This is one of those games that that drip feeds the content out. Like, I believe a lot of gacha games do that, but if you look at other forms of media, that's actually the best way to keep the communities engaged. If you watch a show like on HBO, like Game of Thrones or Westworld, it's a whole lot of different of a community experience than something that just gets regurgitated on Netflix the whole entire season up front, and then everybody's talking about whatever content they can get to first, and it's kind of like a just bleh, right? They just throw it all at you. You do everything all at once. Everybody, as far as content creators or people that are discussing it, are all in different parts of it because they've either binge watched the whole thing, binge watched the entire thing, or have only been able to watch a little bit at a time. So the conversations are all off as far as where people are at. As for your artifacts, slot 3 and slot 4 are going to be pretty crucial for a build with Estella Bellicose pack, giving you up to 40% more damage on your summons. And of course, the important thing there is that you can have more than one summon, so this is just multiplying damage completely. And that's one thing with Estella that y'all guys are going to see when she launches, that she has the ability to build up the number of summons that she can have. And that's really cool. What's the other one here? Should be, right here. It's one of these right here. Yeah, that one. Resonating Pact. This one right here. Yeah, no, Resonating Pact is important. So basically what it's saying is if you're shooting the same target that your summon is shooting, then you get even more damage. So this is how you know Stella's going to be a DPS beast. Can't wait to get a hold of her. It's going to be great. So that about does it for the video. Just in short, prepping for Estella is the same thing as just rounding out all of your weapons for Kabr, and then also getting your artifacts ready for when she drops, because she's going to have a slightly different playing style even though with the same weapons. And so that about does it. Again, this is Ayala1, aka the Terebinth. If you like what you see, if you want more Destiny Rising, or in perhaps Battlefield 6 when that launches, we'll be covering all that on this channel, and my gameplay is just going to continue to be excellent, so definitely stay tuned, if all else, at least for the gameplay. Hell of a mobile game. This game is really changing everything when it comes to mobile, and it's going to be bringing up a whole new conversation about what games are supposed to be, what the quality is, and everything moving forward. So with that, I'll see you on the next video. Peace.